Hi, Lauren with Alternative Nation, here with Deaf Poets from Miami, Florida. So, you guys released your second album in
Yes.
May of this year.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be a touring rock band that has 2 albums out now as opposed to just one?
Right. Amazing. It feels awesome. It feels really good. Our first album, we actually were trying to develop who we were as a band, and this is the album that we really feel that we really were able to express who we are as musicians and what we want and the sound that we're trying to create as a band. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's also cool to be on the road
Yeah.
and play rock and roll music for people because they don't really expect rock and roll to come out of Miami. So it's kind of cool to be able to have 2 records, be like, this is 2 rock and roll records from Miami. This was more rock, the new one is more rock and roll than the last one, so it's good to have like diversity with the 2 records. So it feels good to like show people the growth of the band and play for new audiences and expand.
Yeah, rock
the
can
sound.
come out of
Yeah,
anywhere.
Yeah, it's
rock,
true.
rock isn't dead, people.
Never.
So,
never.
Going off that, what made you guys want to become a rock and roll band? Like, what are your influences? What made you want to do rock and roll as opposed to, because a lot of other genres are a lot more popular nowadays. But I think rock is having this resurgence lately. So what made you guys want to be a rock band? Who were the people that made that want to be there?
Well, one thing that Nico and I have actually always expressed and always shared in common is we used to always love, and we still do love, the same bands. We got to see so many artists that we got like an example I would say is like My Morning Jacket. It's a band that we are both influenced by. I would say the band is even influenced by it. And that was one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen. And that really inspired me to continue wanting to do what this was, and just to be on stage one day in front of all those people or be able to perform and collaborate with those same bands and artists that made me want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, for me, I gotta say, the rock and roll just always spoke to me. There was something about loud distortion and drums, and I always wanted to play drums. So I don't know. I just looked at idols like Mitch Mitchell and Stuart Copeland from the Police and all those people, and I'm like, okay, this is rock and roll. Like, I love the persona they have. Like, they were able to achieve incredible amount of success with just doing what they love, and that's really inspiring to me. And I want to keep pushing to do that.
Yeah, the dream. That's what the dream is, right?
Expressing realism too.
Yeah.
Like, so many other genres talk about the same topics over and over again, but with rock and roll, you can pretty much talk about anything, and it still ends up sounding good because there's so much emotion delivered through it, and it's so realistic.
It's the ultimate release.
And it's still the most honest form of music, I think, because then it's very, like, if you still keep it raw, imperfections are always welcome in rock and roll. It's not meant to be perfect, and a lot of the music that not only we write, but music that all these artists made it feels real because it's like they're talking about real life and things that they're going through and try to relate to other people through their music. And I mean, not saying that other musics don't do that, but the rawness of it is what really attracts me to. It's like the most natural music.
That's what speaks out. Yeah. It's like I said, it's how we can really express ourselves. I would say, like, some people have a talent, some people that can do something and they cater it through that. And with us, it's music, what we love to do, and we get to express it together.
Awesome. So, like, along with a lot of rock and roll is the vinyl aspect. So you guys released Lost in Magic City on vinyl. What made you decide to go with vinyl as opposed to digital, CD, like all of the above? You guys are on Spotify, so
right.
you are digital.
We're everywhere, no matter what.
The vinyl aspect is,
funny enough, like, I think we always were meant to release our music in vinyl. I think the first time we ever released something was a 7-inch, so it was a 45 with a record store, Sweat Records in Miami. So the first release we ever had was vinyl.
Through their label, Sutra.
Yeah, and then now we're working with Wax Romantics, who's a label that's also based it started with Nat, and Stephanie, and Nat is very into, she works at Radioactive Records, which is, another record store. So sure enough, we needed to have a vinyl format because it kind of followed our history, and it makes music a little more. You have a different appreciation for the music because now you have a physical item with you. And the cool thing is also the value of a vinyl. You could pass 50, 60 years and the value will only go up, and you're really holding history. When you listen to something on the record, you're hearing, years and years and years of going down the line that someone heard it for the first time and they passed it along and eventually landed to you, like if you find like a good used record or whatever. So that's always nice to have, and not the same thing you get through digital. Digital, you just Google search and you get everything.
Like rock and roll. We're going back to the roots. That's what we love. Vinyl, you really can hear it. maybe kind of like obsessive to some people. You have to really love music. But when you love music and you hear an album that you actually like on vinyl, it's just a complete different appreciation.
You hear a little crack in the air every now and then, and it's just like, this is authentic. This is actual rock and roll.
Yeah, and you feel it. You feel the music more. Vinyl, that's what I will say. There's a warmth to it. There's a depth to it. And if you really sit there and your TV isn't on and this, there's not noise around you, you're just really paying attention to the music. You really feel it more. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and especially with the way that we recorded the record and we wanted it to sound like if we did it analog, like if we just ran all the tracks to a tape, but we obviously we recorded ourselves, we don't have a tape recorder, but we did it digital, but the way that it was mixed and mastered translated sounds even better on vinyl, because we were going for the raw, heavy, bottom end sound that, the first record doesn't really have. The first record has like more instrumentations, and it was definitely way more digital in the sense of, it was way more polished than the new one. We would definitely wanted this one to scale back and be like, this is us. There's some imperfections in there that we left because that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And you guys are just selling a lot of them. Like they're doing really well.
They're doing very well.
Yeah.
We actually, our blue vinyl, we sold out. Like we made 100 copies, limited edition with a 300 black release, and then the blue one completely sold out right away.
We're almost out of the black, and we're very low on the clear too. So actually, we're almost.
The artwork is awesome, so it's gonna look amazing when you hang it on the wall. So, what are you guys doing differently on these couple tours that you've been for promoting this album? What are you doing differently as opposed to other tours?
Okay, well, when we were just talking about vinyl, one thing we really wanted to do this time and was really wanted to pay attention to vinyl stores as well as anything that's selling, because we've actually played a few places that almost you wouldn't even consider a record store. It's like a mix of things that they end up catering to vinyl. And that's something that we wanted to do. We played a lot of in-stores. We got to do an actual in-store performance.
Awesome.
Catered it a little bit like softer since it's always a small room. There's usually one little PA. So
explode people's ears while they're buying the record.
So it's obviously it's a complete different environment for us as well as a live show. But it was amazing. Every single in-store that we did on this tour, as well as the one before, that was about a month ago. Amazing, really cool reactions. The owners loved us. They ended up, we were selling the actual vinyl at the store to them, and then there were customers in the store like, oh, I'll get one. And almost every time we had a random person's like, hey, I love it. It looks awesome. I can't wait to hear it. You're on tour. So the amount of support that we've been getting with it is incredible. We're super grateful for it.
Sometimes I think that people aren't willing to give new music enough of a chance until they actually hear it themselves, and they're like, oh my God, okay, like I need this.
Yeah.
So going off that, what can we expect from you guys next? Like, do you have any news? Like, is there any more music coming on the way? Like, this is like really exciting stuff.
Yeah. So, our next step is actually, once we finish this tour, we're going to spend the next 2 weeks finishing up some new songs, hopefully a new EP on the works.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking forward to. Some of the tracks we're already playing live now to kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah. Brand new stuff.
Yeah, brand new stuff. So we only have a 2-week cutoff because I'm actually on the process of moving. So we're actually going to be relocating from Miami to New York. That's going to be
super exciting.
The next chapter.
And really excited.
Yeah.
Welcome Defo to New York.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So we're super excited. So we definitely want to finish this up and have like the 6 songs that we've been working on and really try to, finalize the next chapter that follows up with Lost in Magic City. It's like a follow-up songs that we were working on, and then release that, start fresh in New York, and then get re-inspired by a new city, new people, new scene. Everything's new. So write some more music then. So really looking forward to the next couple of months because it's back to work.
Yeah, dude, we're really excited. I think if anything, tours only inspired us to want to work even more harder.
So I have one final question for you guys. It's kind of more of a fun one.
Okay.
So the lyrics in Celestine, they're kind of, that seems like it's like a deeper song. First, let's start with what is your songwriting process, and then we'll go into more of, so specifically for that song, what is the inspiration and the story behind the lyrics in that song?
Oh, okay.
So we got a 2-fer, I'm sorry.
When it comes to the actual writing process of the band, it's always different. Sometimes I could have a song or an idea and I show Nico, and then we switch it together, kind of put all the pieces together and make it from there. Or it could be something Nico has a melody or a little line of a song that develops into what we put together. For Celestine, I remember I wrote like a little melody to it, and kind of like the first line, like I beg your pardon, that little random thing that ended up starting this story that we had. And
I based it off a lot from that particular song. you had the pre-chorus, which was "I see the devil in her eyes," and
Yeah.
you just sang that line, and I was like, "That's interesting." And then I basically developed the entire lyrics off of that line. So I started telling a story like, "Why can you see the devil in her eyes?" So it's an interesting concept that you said, and that line stuck out to me. So then that's how. And then you had the first line of the verse. I'm like, okay, so you have, "I beg your pardon, there's nothing I can do for you," and then "I see the devil in her eyes," and those were the two lines that you came up with. I'm like, okay, I want to connect those lines somehow, and then that's how the story came about. It's just the story about like a person that has some problems and stuff like that, and they're trying to. The world seems very cruel, and we actually say that in the chorus, and just develop the story, which is a person who. Why does she have? Why can you see the devil in her eyes and all that stuff? So.
Yeah, and I remember we spoke about it also. It can represent, like, you know, obviously you can take a story and represent something differently for everyone personally. And, you know, it doesn't specifically cater to this woman or a girl that's there, but kind of the idea, you know, the struggles that we've had in our life and all these things, you know, through feelings, through love, and all these kind of mixes up in life and so on, you know.
Right.
I would say.
And we also like the listeners to like interpret it however they want it.
Yeah.
With our words.
Yeah, we've had people give us some crazy stories. They're like, yeah, so this made me feel this, and I was going through that, and we're like, wow, okay, wow, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would inspire another song, you know. So
That's really important too. That like the fans are able to connect and they're able to twist it and mold it and match it to their own sentiments about everything.
There you go.
Good luck on your move to New York.
Thank you
Everything
so
that's
much.
come in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting and talking with me. This is Sean and Nico from Deaf Poets.
How you guys doing?
Check them out. Go get the record.
Hell yeah.